Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to East Coast Journalist. My name is Manny. I'm here with my partner Dan, and we're just gonna go over another episode of what's happening in our country and in our world. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, just a disclaimer for our viewers out there. We will be having the Attorney O'Brien agreement up along with the Chatham Health District from the Wethersfield, Connecticut. And that's going to start us off with today's brand new topic, the Brenda Butler affidavit. And I'd like to read that. And I'd also like to note to our viewers that Brenda Butler was an employee of Karen. We do have her W-2s and stuff. For privacy purposes, we're going to be redacting her social security number, bank information, but we want to show all our viewers out there that Brenda Butler did work for Karen Muir, and we would also like to note that Brenda Butler's income was not counted with Imagineers when it should be. So with that, let's get right into it, Manny, right?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, number one, Brenda Butler. I'm quoting from the actual affidavit that she signed,
Hmm.
dated 1/4/2020 in the state of Connecticut, Wethersfield, Connecticut. Here we go. One, Brenda Butler. I hardly state that the First Church Village Social Club Thanksgiving dinner on Monday, 11th, 2019, Miss Renee Morales, the First Church Village social worker, asked me to come into her office. I noticed at the time Dina Jeffrey was sitting with Karen Muir at the table talking with her. I had been talking with Mary Stump, the president of the social club, as I requested. Renee told me to shut the door and sit down. She asked me if I would knew anything about Karen Muir and Daniel DeBella. I told her no. I didn't know anything, she said, and she stated right from several minutes ago, as I thought I was lying to her. Renee shook her head and said, I can go. She then said, before I opened the door, do not tell anyone about this meeting. I went home and told my husband, Mark, about the meeting with Renee Morales that took place at 117 Wells Road in Wethersfield, Connecticut. It was Daniel DeBella standing right there. He turned around and asked me what happened. So I told Dan everything while Renee's behavior was totally unacceptable. In the past summer, Karen Godden and Brenda Butler were cleaning Brenda's bedroom closet when Karen Godden and Brenda found mold in the back wall closet. This was the weekend that Claude, the maintenance man, was not available. Karen Godden said she could clean it up with vinegar. So Karen Godden cleaned up the closet with vinegar while Claude came back the following Monday and removed the mold, the rest of the mold. Claude told Brenda to keep an eye on the closet wall in case the mold came back. She came back a couple weeks and checked to make sure that the mold was gone. The mold was still there, and there was nothing since. Brenda Butler signed it. I signed it as a witness. Daniel DeBella, State of Connecticut, Department of Health, and the statement was acknowledged on January 4th, 2020. So, Manny, we're going to get right to the Brenda Butler affidavit. What does that tell you about everything, sir?
Just keep going. I have no input right now.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep going. What this actually says to our viewers out there is that Renee Morales, who works for Imagineers, was a former employee, excuse me, at 117 Wells Road in Wethersfield, Connecticut, was more or less networking with people to have them come into her office and file false complaints against myself for the elder abuse neglect department to go into Patricia Lane's folder. So the more the merrier. And that's what it basically tells me. And Brenda was a stand-up person, Brenda Butler. She actually spoke the truth when others sat there and lied and signed statements against me with Patricia Lane at the State of Connecticut Elder Abuse Neglect Department. Does that sound right to you, Manny?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So we're going to move on to the documents that we're going to be posting. Brenda Butler did work for Karen Muir. The person, the nonprofit agency, Allied Community Resources, was the people who handled the money for people in this program. Allied Community Resources um, handled and did Brenda Butler's W-2 paperwork, did the direct deposit in. And I just want this to be known for the listeners that all the income from Allied Community Resources, we're talking the earned income, is not included. They did not include it, but by law, they had to include it. So by not including it, that would tell me, and it would make sense, that Imagineers had their hands in the pot of gold with the nonprofit Connecticut Community Care, which is funded by our tax dollars from the state and federal government, more from the federal government than is from the state. Patricia Lane told me and Karen, just to recap, Manny, real quick, that she used to work for the nonprofit Connecticut Community Care. And when she actually took the job as the elder abuse neglect worker, her sister had taken over where she left off. So Imagineers is still stealing from that agency by refusing to accept the earned income. Under HUD rules and laws, all earned income must be reported, and Imagineers refuse to report it. So we're going to have those papers listed for all our viewers out there.
Yep.
And we hope you could read that and make sense of it like we're making sense of it. And with that, I would like to go right over to Attorney Dr. William Pepper's memorandum. Okay, Manny, you're ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's tell our listeners what's going on. Memorandum. This was written out by Attorney Dr. William Pepper, Esquire, to Attorney John F. O'Brien out of Manchester, Connecticut. Mind you, my phone number is not the same, but my phone number was 860-983-6263. It's changed since then. So I'm going to read from the memorandum from Attorney Pepper. On or about 2019, Karen Muir and Daniel DeBella became sick due to the black mold on the wall. Water was channeling from our bathroom to our back bedroom wall. When I discovered that the mold on the bedroom wall, I immediately told Karen to get into the vehicle and go to the hotel until the mold is problems. Black mold is removed, excuse me. So while we both were staying at the hotel, Karen asked me to call the Chatham Health District in Wethersfield, Connecticut, which is actually, it's 3 towns, and it's called the Chatham Health District, in respect to the mold when the job was completed. So this is what I said. So I did just that. I did exactly what Karen asked me to do, and that was our right to contact the health department to go and inspect and make sure that the mold was removed from First Church Village. However, it did not sit well with Imagineers LLC employees. 1 week later, Renee Morales asked me to give the Stacy Kearney's phone number to her because I quote, "Stacy does such a good job cleaning your apartment." And remember, Stacy Kearney lives out in Towin, Connecticut, and she did work for Karen Muir. May I continue? I would love to employ Stacy to clean my house, quote unquote, from Renee Morales. So I didn't give Renee's Renee's cell phone. I'm sorry. I gave Renee's cell phone number to Renee Renalis, not knowing what her motives were. Karen had two personal assistants working for her through the federal grant of Connecticut Community Care. So that means that Karen was the employer and the payroll was from Allied Community Resources. Karen was a former employee for approximately 4 years. On October 19th, 2019, Karen's PCAs both quit their job. That would be Karen Godden and Stacy Kearney. Karen and I were puzzled on why the girls suddenly quit. Karen Godden and Stacy Kearney both quit on Karen's 60th birthday party. We found out the reasons why they both quit their jobs. Patricia Lane from the Elder Abuse Neglect Department, the state of Connecticut Department of Social Services, was approached to our door with no ID, stating who she worked for the state of Connecticut. Karen had just returned from dialysis on November 4th, 2019, which was the day of her birthday, her 60th birthday. Just want our listeners to know that, and was very weak. Patty Lane talked to Karen and told her that there were individuals that filed complaints on the Elder Abuse Neglect Department, as Karen and Daniel has never abused Karen ever. However, Patty forced Karen's hands to apply for an arrest warrant for her fiance, Daniel DeBella. Now, this was about 17 days later, for our listeners to know, Manny, that we were actually going to tie the knot, get married at St. Paul's Church in Wethersfield, Connecticut. Moving on. According to the residents on Sunday, 1 week Patty Lane visited our apartment. There was an arrest warrant out for me, Daniel DeBella. So with that prompted to contact attorneys to investigate the so-called arrest warrant. So attorney Carrie Sosha in Vernon handled the situation with attorney Peter Soulsby, her colleague. They dealt with the situation on hand for the arrest warrant. The arrest warrant suddenly vanished without a trace. Manny, how does something like that just vanish?
No, it doesn't. There's nefarious intentions behind it. But go ahead, continue.
Yes, there are. To protect ourselves, Karen and I retained attorney John F. O'Brien to prosecute and sue Imagineers LLC. We both were digging into our case. We noticed that Imagineers to be one of the most corrupt corporations that exist. Attorney O'Brien said that himself. This is the most corrupt case he has ever seen. Yet Attorney O'Brien didn't do anything to resolve this. First person to state myself was Attorney O'Brien. Registered dietitian Marlene Philpotts received a certified letter from First Church Village from none other than Dina Jeffrey, LLC Incorporated, running for many years. It turned out that HUD released from was attached the certified letter. Karen and I noticed we never signed a release from the to send to Marlene Philpotts from First Church Village, the dietitian. Marlene Philpotts gave us a certified envelope that was certified from Wethersfield Post Office to us, and we also gave a copy of that forged documents, the 6 forgeries and the 2 counts of HIPAA, to attorney John F. O'Brien. I handed the original dockets to Anna Kyle, a document examiner who's licensed by the state and federal government, to look at all the documents, and she determined that HUD documents were forged. She gave us evidence, and Imagineers was stealing from HUD. This would make a big whistleblowing case for a federal lawsuit, as well as a criminal case. Please don't forget Nally Neely at 20 Church Street in Hartford, Connecticut, in the finance department, which is being said that Nally Neely and her are best friends with Imagineers, friends and families and employees. Imagineers is a base company that serves the New England area with HUD and her urban development, and condominium complexes as well. It has been in the business for approximately 40 years with a net worth of $15 million a year. If added up over 40 years, Imagineers LLC would make approximately $6 million, leading to 25 million of a 25 profit has been stolen from the taxpayers on the HUD side instead of the condominium side. I, Daniel DeBella, never have solved this complex puzzle until today. Imagineers LLC had tried to arrest me to prove a point. Manny, that point was to shut me up and to make sure that people like myself don't go to any government agencies on the outside to ask for help, which would be the Chatham Health District. What do you have to say about that, Manny?
No, that's exactly right. That's what they do. They try to hush everybody else up because they're hiding their egregious acts. Well, go ahead.
Okay. I want to note this for the record. This is Daniel DeBella, and I'm going to note this for the record. Imagineers LLC is located at 635 Farmington Avenue in Hartford, Connecticut, 06105. The corporate phone number to Imagineers is 860-768-3300. Matthew Anderson's direct cell number, which is active today, is 860-768-3361. And Dina Jeffrey, the best forgery artist ever's direct cell phone number is 860-990-5893. Angela Canamere is the special agent who investigated this crime. And Manny, would you tell us who the supervisor is, please?
I don't remember.
Christine
Krasinski. Christine.
Zinsky. Yes, Christine Zinsky. She's out of New York. Now, I just want to let you know that the supervisor called me and she told us that Anna Kyle's documents did not hold any weight to arrest the people that forged our signatures. The special agent and the supervisor, Angela, which is at 20 Church Street in Hartford, Connecticut, U.S. Housing Urban Development. Their phone number is 860-240-4800. All these numbers and everything will be listed in the bio. So please look at the description. We're asking all our podcast people to write to the president at whitehouse.gov. This is outrageous, and it's crazy to think that Imagineers is still doing this, but they are stealing from Imagineers is stealing from HUD, and they're stealing from the recipients that they serve. And what's shocking about both of these things is that when Imagineer steals from HUD, which is our tax dollars, they pass around the pot of gold to their friends at HUD to keep them quiet. Because Nally Neely should have done the right thing and had reported that this income that Imagineers refused to count from Allied Community Resources. Now, I was making $60,000 and $70,000 1 year and the second year. They didn't count that earned income for HUD. They should have. And other people make about approximately 10,000, like Karen Godin, Brenda Butler, and they didn't report that income either. That's the only income that they don't report. And Nally Neely stated, for the record, who works for HUD at 20 Church Street in Hartford, Connecticut, yet again, that income needs to be covered. Instead, Nally Neely decided to brush it underneath the carpet with no reason. I am asking my followers to give all these people a call: Dina Jeffrey, Imagineers, Matt Anderson, Angela Canamere, a call and ask them why they're stealing from all of us. And also, please write to the President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump III, and Vice President J.D. Vance. We need this message to get out to the White House. Now, I'm going to tell you that there's more documents, there's going to be more evidence on our next podcast for next week. This is the most horrific I have ever seen, and it makes a lot of sense to put an end to this and also get a whistleblowing contract unraveled to make sure that this hatred never happens again. Manny, thoughts on?
Well, just to sum up, basically what you're saying is, um, uh, until this very moment, the public is still getting basically duped in a number of ways. We're paying taxes, and HUD is also getting duped at the same time. And like you said, it's time that we expose people like this, and not only in this segment and many others to come, to let people know and be aware of what's happening in our great country.
Precisely. Attorney Dr. William Francis Pepper, my passed away last April, could not have agreed with you more. He was my rock, my legend. I loved him so much. And I just want to let our podcast members know we're gonna cut this short tonight, that we will get justice. We will go to DC and we're going to fight for what's right. And we're asking our viewers that view this podcast to join with us and join forces and stand as one. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to take back our nation from the corrupt corporations out there, such as Imagineers. Make no mistake, if Imagineers is stealing from everyone, don't think all the other corporations aren't doing the same exact thing. We will put a stop to it. I will roll Arthur Anderson's table right out that front door. And you know what? We're all going to do it. We're all going to take back our nation. So
That's
on
right.
that note, I would like to say this. God bless the United States of America. God bless the world. In Jesus' name, amen. And we thank you for listening to today's podcast. Manny, any last words?
No, just want to concur with what you said, with our prayer. Thank you, Lord, for everything that you've done for us and continue to do. Please help us expose these evil-minded people, and God bless America. Amen.
And God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you next week. Please stay viewed for all the documents. It's going to be throughout this podcast, and you can take snapshots and see them for yourself. Thank you very much and have a pleasant evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.